Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. I'm your host, Matthew Peterson. On today's show, we not only have some trade rumors, but we just had some breaking trade news, actually. Broncos making a couple moves to try and beef up their roster as they have been decimated at that linebacker spot, unfortunately. So we're going to talk about that towards the end of the video, but we're not going to let you guys be in the dark on the latest trade activity. But first, I just want to get to this tweet that came out and kind of got lost in the Sunday shuffle of NFL action yesterday. Ian Rappaport saying Deshaun Watson is not the only intriguing name that could be traded before the trade deadline. Others, Melvin Ingram from the Steelers, LJ Collier from the Seahawks, Andre Dillard from the Eagles, and Kyle Fuller from the Broncos, and that's why we are here today. We're going to talk about whether or not this Kyle Fuller trade can get pulled off, what that would look like, and everything surrounding it. But first, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe right now. We're knocking on the door of 4,400 subscribers. Be the one that pushes us over. If you're new to the channel, subscribe today. That way you are in the know. Anytime you got, say something like breaking Denver Broncos trade news and rumors like we have today, so you can stay up to date. So subscribe right now. Okay, moving on. Kyle Fuller. This is what the show was supposed to be all about, and then we had some trade news join us as well. But I do think a trade should happen regarding Kyle Fuller. He's owed about $5 million for the remainder of the season. It has not been pretty. It was ugly to start, and finally Vic Fangio pulled the plug on his guy. The two of them had some time lapped over when they were in Chicago together, when Fangio was the DC and Fuller a longtime Chicago Bear. But the last 2 weeks have seen Fuller holding Gatorade bottles and handing out towels on the sideline instead of handing balls to the quarterback after interceptions. Fuller does have a lot of great accolades. You look at the bottom, he was an All-Pro in 2018, a two-time Pro Bowler, and an NFL co-interception leader, all in that 2018-2019 stretch. And he was great beforehand for Chicago, kind of tinkered off a little bit the last year or two, and that's probably a reason why the Bears made him a cap space. God, words are hard. But anyway, what I want to know from you guys, join me in this conversation. Hopefully you guys are better at English than I am. Should the Broncos trade Kyle Fuller? Get down in the comments section. Type T for trade or P for pass. I'm all in my head right now. Let me know what you're thinking. I'm going to go over his stats a little bit more and give you some insight on my opinion. Personally, you do it yesterday. That's what I think. You end this horrible short-term relationship that has not worked out. You were hoping you could really put together the top DB room in the NFL, and I thought it would be. Between a 9th overall pick, a former All-Pro in Kyle Fuller, a great free agency signing in Darby, and a return of Bryce Callahan, that to me looked like the best defensive back room across the National Football League. Hasn't worked out that way. So cut your ties. Fangio probably going to be a little stubborn to move on from someone he wanted to bring into the building, and it did not work out. It fell flat on its face, but at least get something from him because you're not getting anything on the field from Fuller. So how about some draft capital or even a player? If the Broncos look to move on from Fuller, here are some teams I think that could make it happen. I got a handful of contending teams here. Actually, they're all contending teams. And most importantly, cap space. The NFL is a little weird. I think at any given point, if you want to make a deal happen, you can move money around, you can restructure contracts, make it into fully guaranteed, make it into signing bonuses, and free up cap space. But it's important to know what the cap space looks like. Ravens, they are a contending team. They lost Marcus Peters before the season. Maybe they can get the old Fuller out of him. I think the Titans make sense. The Packers wanted Fuller a couple seasons ago. That move makes sense to me. I got the Cowboys here outside of Trayvon Diggs. I don't know how much confidence they have in the rest of their corner room. And then you got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are all about win now, making trades, making deals. And you just saw Sherman as a coach because of how injured they were and other things going on at their DB position. So maybe they look to bring some veteran depth in as well. Now, join the show. Let you guys be the host here. I got my 5 teams. What team would Fuller be a good fit on in your opinion? I'm going to make this the pinned comment. So if you can hit with the YouTube ad break, scroll on down, reply. It's right there. Then come back and join us on the video. Going back to Fuller a little more and what he's done this year to kind of go full circle and paint this picture for him. the probably biggest reason the Broncos haven't traded him yet is who wants this guy? The numbers are ugly. And the only reason that they're not worse than that what it looks like right now is he's played 2 snaps the last 2 games. Didn't play a single snap against the Browns on Thursday Night Football. So if he was playing all 6 games so far, all 7 games, he would have way more yards allowed, yards per completion, and touchdowns most likely. But that's probably the biggest hindrance right now for Kyle Fuller. But don't let bad mistakes get in the way like Fuller. How about make some good ones thanks to our sports book partner, BetUS. They hook you up with a great jersey and 125% deposit bonus. We got the jersey. They get the deposit bonus. And all you have to do is go to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code Broncos125. Then when you sign up and deposit at least $100 by the end of the month, so you have until Halloween, you get a 125% deposit bonus. And then now you're picking your jersey, whether it's a Von Miller jersey, whatever color, whatever size, or how about a Bradley Chubb alternate blue, okay? Whatever it may be, we've got it for you, and all you got to do is email us, jersey@chatsports.com, with your BetUS account number, along with a screenshot of your first bet, and then boom, it's yours. Make it happen by the end of the month, and be the big man on campus come Christmas. Give someone a brand new Bradley Chubb or Von Miller jersey and be hooked up for the holiday season. It's free, and you get a 125% deposit bonus for getting a free jersey. It's a win-win. Don't be the one that sleeps on this. It's not going to be here forever. Go ahead right now and lock in this free jersey deal. I'll have that email down in the comments and the description for you guys. Moving on to the quarterback depth chart here. This is another reason why the Broncos need to get rid of Kyle Fuller. He stands at 4th right now. He's hardly played the last couple of weeks. And with the emergence of PS2, who has just taken over that number 1 spot after him himself being the number 4 spot, you don't have to worry about having some lack of strength, I think, at the cornerback position, although some people disagree. So I'm going to throw these numbers at you here. I like Pro Football Focus and the grades they give. They don't like the Broncos for some reason. These are the numbers right here. So, for example, PS2 ranking 88th out of 120. I think that's a little harsh. 55.9 overall. But there you see Fuller, almost dead last. 117 out of 120. And move on. It's that bad. So, if anyone wants to give you anything, whether it's a 4th or a 5th, you take it and you hope that player can be some kind of depth piece in the future going forward, because right now you're getting absolutely nothing out of Fuller. The biggest issue for the Broncos is probably trying to find someone who would trade for him. But the Broncos have had no issues making their own trades. They made 2 trades in the last 48 hours. One, they snuck by us during college football. During a 9-overtime bazaar, they just dropped that bomb on us. But they also made some bigger news, some bigger trades happening earlier, right when we were about to start filming today's episode. Kenny Young, a 7-time starter this season for the LA Rams, comes over from LA into Denver. So looking at a couple numbers here, if you don't know who Kenny Young is, to be honest, I didn't know who this guy hardly was either going into this video. I remembered him from the trade with the Ravens a couple seasons ago. He was part of that package. But the numbers I got for him, he went from 100% snap count week 1 on Sunday Night Football against the Bears to 55% the last time he was out in the field. So that kind of tells you what the Rams think of him. They cut his snaps down in half, essentially. Probably looking to move on from him. The trades, the Broncos send away a 7th-round pick, and they get a 6th-rounder and Young, all in 2024. I mean, they basically got him for nothing. This is a bag of footballs for Kenny Young. The Rams wanted to move on from him. The Broncos have been decimated at linebacker. It's not been fun to watch. We'll get to the depth chart in a moment. But first, they also traded for Stephen Weatherly. Who doesn't know this guy, right? Household name. No, not really. He's been stuck behind a couple guys up in Minnesota. He's an edge rusher who's been behind Everson Griffin and Danielle Hunter and hasn't really found a way to crack onto the field. And with the way Malik Reed has been playing and this Broncos really lack of pass rush outside of Von Miller, it makes sense to try and give it a shot. I wouldn't expect him to come in here and be a surefire improvement from what you got in Reed, but you get some depth. And the sad thing is I couldn't even fit all the names on this depth chart. We're missing Alexander Johnson because of how many injuries and how many players have been placed on IR. The Broncos are down to their third and was it fourth or even fifth string inside linebackers between Robinson and Justin Schnatt. So the Broncos, it's been a sad story of the injuries. And don't get me wrong, injuries have two ways of looking at things, whether it's you think that they're an actual contributing factor to a season derailing or it's just excuses. Everyone deals with injuries in the NFL, but this has been an especially bad injury bug, especially when you make a third-string running back in Cleveland, Dearness Johnson, on Thursday night look like an all-pro running over your linebackers, going off for over 150 yards and a touchdown. The linebacker room in Denver is just not what it needs to be. So the Broncos, they add some depth, they boost it up, and they try to get some change right there. Let's see what Kenny Young can do. But guys, be the teacher for me. Grade these trades. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you're grading it in the comments section. Personally, I'll give this a B+. We'll see what these guys can do, but at least you're staying competitive. That was my biggest takeaway, was that I didn't think the Broncos would be trading for anyone, but if they're just going to ask for a bag of footballs for these players, then why not, especially when you're banged up as it is. So A, B, C, D, or F for me. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments section. Want to know where you guys are pegging this one at, and we'll see where this happens. We'll see where this goes, how much of a factor Kenny Young and everyone else can really be for this Broncos team. I'm one way guy. Wait till I see they play, of course. But also on the other hand of things, you got depth. There's a reason why these players are being traded at this point, right? The Vikings and the Rams wouldn't hold on to these guys if they thought they really had something in them. So I think it's worth noting that they are just moving on from that. So that's what we got here. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe right now to the Broncos Breakdown. Help us get over 4,400 subs. And also, follow me on Twitter. I'm talking Broncos all the time. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, any day that ends with a Y, I'm talking Broncos. Handle is at the bottom of your screen. Sauce me a follow if you haven't already. And what I'll do is I'll shout you guys out next week on the show. Just let me know you came from the Broncos Breakdown.